Hey guys, welcome back. It's Meridy here, and today I have our fourth layout using our Powerhouse Limitless Kit and Essentials Kit, and I'm just going to jump right in and show you the pieces that I pulled out of the kit to work with today. So today I'm going to scrapbook two photos. They're photos of me and my son riding the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, because what better pictures to use in a line all about power grids and electricity and construction than a runaway broken elevator, or gantry as they call it on the ride, gantry lift. So anyways, I've got these two pictures, and I picked the following pieces to work with for these two pictures. We'll do the embellishments last. I grabbed a couple sheets of paper out of the 6x8 paper pad that came in the Essentials kit. I grabbed this one because I liked that side. They really gave me the vibe of the ride. This one, and then this plate, oh my gosh, diamond plate type of pattern. Okay, and then I've got a couple of scraps of this lighter paper that I had left over. I've got a scrap of this, which was the packaging from the Minté Chippies, and I thought it looked nice with the colors here. And then I've got this plaid piece, which is like this textured looking texture on the back. I'll probably use this in a very small amount, but I really like the colors with the pictures. But it's not a very plaid looking layout, so I'll just probably use a tiny piece of that plaid. And then I had cut a couple of pieces apart earlier in this series that I think would look great with this. So I'll probably finish fussy cutting this. I pulled a few pieces of ephemera out of the ephemera pack. This is like an electrical outlet and some kind of gauge here and more gauges and wires. I've got a few more of my cogs, which I think will be amazing for this layout. I've got the rest of this that I haven't fussy cut, and I'm sure I will use some of these items. I'm not sure which, but like this cable is awesome. I think it will look really good with this. The generator even, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of things that can look good in there. And then I did take this sheet out of the 6x8 paper pad, which also has more cut aparts, because I really like this electrical box too on there, and the fire extinguisher, you know, gauges. So I plan on kind of fussy cutting a lot on this. I have my alphabet stickers, and I went through with a black Sharpie to see what letters were left, to see if I could spell out Guardians of the Galaxy. So I left myself a little note right there to call it Guardians of the Galaxy, which I know the ride is not called Guardians of the Galaxy. It's called Guardians Mission Breakout or something like that. I don't know. I'm calling it Guardians of the Galaxy. So then I went and I put a little dot above each letter to see if I could spell it out. And I almost can spell it out. I'm an A short, so I think I'm gonna flip a D upside down to make a lowercase a. And then I believe I was an N short too, so I'm gonna turn a U upside down to make it an N. So I can spell the whole thing though, Guardians of the Galaxy, when I mess around with those two letters. So I think that's gonna be my title. I really would love to use these. I have a lot of stuff going on here though, guys, a lot, like all these fussy cut things, all the different patterns of paper, these. So there's a lot. And we only have a 12 by 12 little page, so we'll see what ends up happening. I've got these three, this comes as a 4-pack of acrylics, but I pulled these 3 out because of course it's just me and my son. We're the only 2 that like this ride. The rest of our family does not like it. So I grabbed the you and me because that's perfect. And then I grabbed the ones that say right now, because I'm not sure if I would rather have it in that color or that color. So I just have them both out here ready for me. And then of course this is outdoorsy and doesn't really match what's going on here, except for one piece. I don't know if you spy it already. Let me show you. Let me try to find my little X-Acto knife to cut it out, and it is the guitar, because if you've been on Guardians of the Galaxy, you know that it is, the music is and the rock and roll music is like a main part of it. If you've seen the movie, you know. If you know, you know. So, and I realize this is not an electric guitar. I really don't care. I'm still putting it on my layout because I just thought it was cool that there was a guitar, and it's perfect for this ride because the music is what makes this ride so awesome. So I am going to cut that out, and I'm not going to use any of these other things. They really don't coordinate at all. I was hoping I could see a little raccoon on here for Rocket because, you know, they have a bear and a deer, but there was no raccoon, guys. Sorry. So we were getting close though. Anyways, so the first thing that I need to do, I think, right now is really narrow down what pattern paper I want to use because I really don't need a lot of pattern paper on this. Like, I just need little tiny amounts of pattern paper because I want to use so much other stuff, and I want to use like the stencils, and it's just going to get real busy real fast. Even the stencil work, I want it to be really light on the background. I don't want it to be very dark. So, oh, I forgot to tell you too, I grabbed a 12 by 12 white sheet cardstock from my stash. This sheet did not come in the kit. But if you don't like working on white, like if you wanted to work on off-white or even black, you could do that too. Actually, this might look really cool on black because it's kind of a dark ride. You know what? I think I'm gonna grab a piece of black cardstock and I'm gonna see if I can make that work for the base of my layout because I don't use black very often. But I think it could really work for this, for like the mood of this layout. And I wonder if I could just use this to kind of mat it. This plaid paper to mat it. No, I don't want to do that. I kind of really like it like this. Okay, so next I need to mat my pictures. And since I've got this dark background, I wonder if I can mat my pictures just on a little bit of this light paper. If they even will show up very good. Or would I rather mat them? Oh, I think I'm rather gonna wanna mat them on this paper. Let's make sure. Yeah, I think I'm going to mat my pictures on this light paper. And in order to do that, because my pictures are exactly 12 inches long and so is this paper, I'm gonna have to trim a little bit off of this picture so that there's plenty of space to mat, because I really can't trim this picture because it's got this border around it. So I'm going to go off camera. I'm gonna trim this picture down a little and mat both of these pictures on this 12-inch long piece of the reminisce paper that's left. Okay guys, I got these matted, and now I don't know which picture I even want to leave on the top versus on the bottom. I mean, if you put them in order of the way they happened, obviously this happened first, and this is when we're dropping down in the middle of the ride. But I kind of like the visual weight of this picture on the bottom. I think that's what I'll do. And I am just going to start, let's see. I think I'm just gonna start tearing into these papers. I'm making strips and layering them underneath these pictures where I think it would look nice. So I tore a little piece of that one off. I'm gonna cut 2 inches off of this paper first. Okay, let me explain what I just did. So this paper was 6 inches wide. I cut a 4-inch strip off, and then I took the remaining 2 inches and tore that. I just kind of did it backwards, but I wanna be able to give you precise measurements. So, and then I think I'm gonna do the same with both of these. So I'm gonna cut a 2-inch strip, And this is the same pattern as the one that I just cut. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and continue cutting that same one, 2 more inches. So I cut the one sheet into 3 2-inch wide strips, and then I just cut a little 1 2-inch wide strip off this piece, and this piece is still whole. I'm gonna keep these here in case I need them somewhere. And I'm thinking that the plaid, oops. So when we tear this one, we wanna make the white core show. And I'm thinking that the plaid paper might not make it onto this layout. I really like the rivets on this, so I'm gonna try really hard to tear so that the rivets are still showing, which is barely tearing off the tiniest little piece. And I don't know. No, this is very boxy. I don't like that. Okay. And I have to remember that I have a lot of embellishments that I want to be putting on top of this, so I don't need a whole bunch of pattern paper. I'm seeing one more time how this paper looks to mat the entire layout, and I just don't like it. It just doesn't match the feel. The colors match great, but the feel of that paper, it's more like an outdoor feeling to me than what the feel of this ride was like. And then, so I've still got, I've still got this. This is what I tore off of this piece. I wonder if I can double it up a little because it kind of looks cool. I've also got this piece that I tore, it's the other half of this one. So the white core is showing right on there. Yeah, I kind of like this. I'm gonna make these just really lay close to the pictures though. Just really narrow strips. Okay, next, I've got my stencils, and this is gonna be fun. I think I'm finally able to use some of the stencils, or some of the Nouveau embellishment piece that I've been waiting to use, because this is that Persian red, and I've really been wanting to use this, and I think it will look great on this layout. My question is, do I wanna make this look like it's going this direction or this direction? I kind of like it going sideways. Wonder if I can make it just go all the way off the page. Scooch everything up a little. Let's see. I think I'm going to adhere all these pieces together so that I can easily take it on and off and move it around the page. But I'm not adhering them to the back of the layout. So I'm just adhering them together, but not to the back of my entire layout. It's just gonna make things a lot easier for me moving the whole grouping around. So I will go off camera and finish doing this, and I will be right back. Okay, so I've got this all as one piece. And I think that I really want to rip a little of this background paper to look like other paper is underneath it, because I really like the tears, and I think I'm gonna cut these down so I can't see that straight line sticking out off the top. It's just a little too long. So I'm gonna cut that one. I need to cut these bottom ones off too. I'm gonna cut this right about there. I'm gonna cut this up just a little higher. Yeah, that's looking a little nicer. And then I'm gonna give this one a little trim. Okay. And then for this top little bit, I am going to just start tearing my top paper down and just tear a chunk out of it. Okay, and then I'm gonna back it with paper. I'm not sure which paper I'm gonna back it with yet. Oh yeah, I think I can back it with that green. So I've got a piece off of this side. So I think I'm gonna take a little chunk out of this side, but just a small chunk out of this side. Not quite as long as that other one that I just did. And I'm even gonna make it a little more jaggedy. I think I'm gonna make this one a little more jaggedy too. Okay, so I've got lots of scraps laying around. Let me get those out of the way. Now, in order to make this be a little more dimensional, I'm gonna get it a little bit wet so I can roll this back. I'll show you what I mean. I'm just gonna use my little mister. And I'm just gonna get, you could use a paintbrush for this too, just a paintbrush dipped in water. And then I'm gonna roll, because this makes it, the paper, really easy to roll if it's wet, and it'll dry in a second. And now my torn edge is rolled back a little. Okay, and then I can adhere it onto there. And a little more down here, but I'm not sure if I want to use that same blue color or this color. I think I want to use that same blue color, I think. This is how to do this if you don't have a sprayer. This is just a water brush. This is the other technique to get the paper wet and roll it. I just use the water brush. You know, there's just water in this paintbrush, and paint it on the edge a little. And then it will be really easy to roll. And this works really well on paper that is not cardstock, but double-sided, like 2 patterns. Then you can kind of see the back pattern in the front too, if that makes sense. Like the back pattern shows where you rolled it. Okie doke, let's cut this. So I've got this strip here. I'm gonna cut this in half. So this right now, it's 4 inches by 6 inches, or by 8 inches, cutting it in half. I'm cutting a 2-inch strip. I'm gonna allow the rivets to show on the top right there. Let's see how this looks at the bottom. Yeah, I like it at the bottom too. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this paper over and put some adhesive right around that tear and just adhere this right, whoop, the rivets are the right way, okay? And adhere it right at the top. I'm just getting rid of some of the adhesive that's showing. Okay, that looks great. And then I'm gonna do the same technique at the bottom. Just get some adhesive on there. And line that up to the edge. Great. So now I've got two cool tears. Yeah, this is looking more the style of what I'm wanting for this layout. Now I am going to use the bright, it's not bright, but the reddish Persian red. Persian red, is that what it's called? Yeah, Persian red embellishment mousse. And I'm just going to do a little stencil work here. I'm thinking I might need to do this stencil work first because I'm planning on using ink for this, and this will be dimensional because it's the mousse. So I probably need to do this first. So I'm gonna start, I want it to go just like that. And I want it to be ink or paint or something that's gonna show up on black cardstock, because obviously I've got black cardstock here. I have this silver mica mist that I can use like paint, and it will definitely show up on the black cardstock. You know, I think I need to test this on a side piece because I don't want to ruin my background that I've already got halfway made. And I'm going to test how this looks. So I'm going to get a scrap of black cardstock and a piece of scratch paper that I've been using. And I'm going to try to use this like paint with a paintbrush. So I got a little sample of the Persian red. I have it with the silver down here and with the gold up here. And then with my pictures and this layout. And then we're going to pretend like we've got embellishments over the top. The embellishments are really blending with this silver. So I'm thinking that I'm going to use the gold mica mist and the Persian red embellishment mousse, because then these will pop nicely. Right? Right. Okay, so back to the beginning where I was about to do last time. If I want that up there and this sticking out a little bit down here. Okay, I am just gonna put ever so slight and light this gold mica mist because I don't want it to overpower. It's almost overpowering up there. So I'm gonna do super, super light. I'm gonna need my little scratch paper because I don't want my brush I want my brush really dry when I'm doing this. So I'm just gonna really get my brush really dry and just gently, barely blot it. Now, if you don't have this mica mist or any mica mist shows up really well on dark paper. That's why I'm using the mica mist spray. But if you don't have this, you can use, yeah, this is way too much. You can use acrylic paint with a lot of water, like a few drops of acrylic paint with a lot of water mixed into it. So that is an option. This brush is just so wet, sorry. That is an option if you don't have the this mica mist spritz. So I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to be picking up these areas where it's a little heavier, where it was a little more wet, and just moving it around. And I'm kind of just pouncing my brush, almost like a stencil brush, like a wall stencil that you would use. I'm afraid to really use my actual stencil brushes that I use for scrapbooking, or my blending brushes that I use normally on my scrapbook. I'm kind of afraid to use those right here because I'm afraid that they're gonna just pick up the moisture and I won't be able to use it as dry, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm kind of just sticking to this paintbrush and blotting it around. So I'm gonna go finish this off camera and I will be right back. All right, guys, so I've got this on really lightly. I've got quite a mess going on here on my work surface, but I am going to decide where I want this stencil work next. And I'm glad it's not too overwhelming what I've done so far. So this stencil work, I just want a very little bit in here. get this back open. And you kind of have to put this on pretty generously with this stencil to fill in all the open gaps. I think that's good. I don't want it extremely overpowering on my layout. So I kind of like that. And I think I want a little bit up here. So again, I'm gonna really load up my little tool here. Good. Yep, I think that's gonna be good. I don't want to put it down yet because it's not all the way dry. So I'm going to turn off the camera and let this completely dry before I move on to the next step. So since I'm letting this dry, I'm just going to move it off to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and start fussy cutting some of these items so that when I'm ready, when it's dry, I will have them all cut. So let's see what I'm going to cut. We already have the little guitar here. I'm gonna finish fussy cutting this out. So that's cut, this is cut. I think I wanna use this generator. Okay, and I think I would like to use this and the fire extinguisher. Both of those. This is an interesting thing that I don't know what it is. It's probably a good thing I don't know what all these tools are because someone watching probably has a husband who works in electrical engineering or some kind of construction and knows what this really is and is like, oh my gosh, that doesn't even belong in a building. So ignorance is bliss right now, guys, that I don't know what some of these things are, but I think they look cool. So I will fit them on my layout and then someone can critique it later in the future when they're making fun of my embellishment choices. But seriously, let's see. I like this little power outlet. And then I feel like I am gonna cut these right here out too. I want to get things that are different sizes, bigger and smaller. So I'm just getting a whole bunch of things to cut out and then I can narrow down what I end up really putting on my layout when we're working. I think that's about it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim all of these out and I will be right back. And then, oh yeah, these are the ephemera that I pulled out of the ephemera pack that I'd like to use too. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim the rest of these guys out and I will be right back. Everybody, I think this is dry enough that I can adhere this down on it. And I got a bunch of ephemera pieces cut. I'm gonna open up these gears in case I need to grab a couple of them. And I think we can start building up our embellishment clusters here. So I'm going to start by adhering this down. I'm not going to adhere all the way up to the edges because I want to be able to slip pieces underneath the corners and the edges if I need to, like if I want to slide something underneath of there. Okay, so let's see here. I know I want to build one cluster down here. I know I probably want to build one cluster somewhere up there, but maybe not a super big one. I don't mind if I cover up a lot of my stencil because I'm fine with it just barely peeking out of the sides of things. So it's okay if I cover up a lot of the stencil work. To me, I'm fine with that. I just want to make this have a good, you know, feel like a good representation of what the ride evokes. So I might just have 2 clusters on here. I don't really want to cover up the Guardians of the Galaxy logo there either. That's printed on my picture, so I'm just being kind of careful how low I'm putting these over the picture. Some of these things, I'm not going to use the fire extinguisher. Some of these things I think are not going to fit. I like that I can see some of these details in the picture. I don't want to cover up my picture too much either. So I'm just going to have to play around and put embellishments. Maybe I can make them go all the way down the side here. Oh yeah, I forgot about my guitar. That is an important one that I don't want to forget. That's just a little much. And I don't want to cover all my stencil work up either. So I'm going to keep on playing around and messing around with these different pieces and seeing if I can find a configuration that I like across the page. Oh, right now, and you and me. Can't forget I have this you and me. Yeah, so I'm gonna go off camera and kind of mess around with these things and see what I come up with, because this is taking quite a while and I don't want this video to get too long and boring. So I'm going to go off camera and finish playing, and I will be right back. Alrighty, I think I have things laid out pretty well, like I like them. I don't think I'm gonna put these two on. I don't think I'm gonna put this outlet on. It just doesn't add to it. I don't think I'm gonna use this tag or the generator either. And then I'm not gonna use the rest of these that I pulled out because I already have a few, but I do need to color these things. And I think I want to color the cogs like this color. So I'm going to pull out two different colors. Oh, and I think I want to color the guitar like this orangey color to make it kind of stand out. So I'm going to use tea dye for the guitar, and I think I'll just work on that really quick right now. And then for the cogs, I want to get them that color. I think I'm going to have to do a mixture of a couple of colors to get that effect. So for the guitar though, I'm going to start like this. And if I decide I need to make this guitar like darker or a different color or something, after I get it colored this color, I can just color right over this and kind of blend it together. Or I can flip the guitar upside down and color it completely different color. But I think this color is going to work. I was trying to pull out a color that doesn't blend too much into the background, and I don't think any of the things behind it are this orangey tea dye, orangish brown tea dye color. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good, that color. Good. And then the cogs, I'm gonna get to that greenish patina color. So to achieve that, I'm going to use iced spruce and rustic wilderness. And I'm just gonna experiment a little. I think I'm gonna start with the ice spruce and see what happens. I don't think it's quite dark enough on its own. Oh, iced spruce might actually just do the job. So let me color these all in the iced spruce color, and then we'll see how that looks. I think it's looking good. I feel like this right now is kind of not looking correct right there. It looks kind of weird right there. And I feel like it can look pretty good right there and blend a little bit better right there. So I'm gonna put that right there. And I'm gonna just start at the back of my embellishment clusters and start adhering everything down. When I get to my wood cogs, I'm going to use Eileen's tacky glue to adhere those down, because I just think that Eileen's tacky glue adheres those porous wood, right? I know they're the porous wood pieces down a lot better than any of the other adhesives that I have. And occasionally I'm going to pop some elements up on foam adhesive, because I really like it adds a little dimension in here, so my layout doesn't just look totally flat. But if you do not like a lot of dimension on your pages, you would not pop things up on foam tape like I just did for this piece right here. So I'm going to go off camera and get everything else adhered down, and I will be right back. Okay, my last piece that I'm going to adhere down is this Right Now acrylic. I'm just going to use a little glossy accents for that, because that holds acrylic pretty well. I think I might add a couple of splatters to this. And since I already used the gold and the copper, I think I'm going to go ahead and use my Silver Smoke mica mist to do some splatters. And I'm just going to do a very few, because I don't need a lot. There's a lot going on in this layout. A couple up there, a couple down here, a couple up here. Okay, and then I'm going to call that good. In the still pictures that I have at the end of this video, you'll be able to see that the silver mist, when it dries, it turns bright silver. You can already see it turning bright silver, the pieces that are drying. So it will really stand out and look amazing. But I think that's it for this layout, guys. This was fun. It was definitely different for me with a black background, as opposed to a lot of my backgrounds are usually white. But I think it went really well with the pictures and the vibe and the feel and the tone of everything. So I hope you guys like this, and I hope you're having fun working with the Powerhouse kit. If you are inspired by any way from this layout, we would love to see what you make, either with this kit or with your own supplies that this inspired you, and you can share it on our Not Just for Boys Kit Club community Facebook group, and I will link that in the description of this video along with everything else that I used. But thanks for watching, guys. Bye.